Welcome, everyone, and I mean everyone, to a new episode of Nerd Variety Podcast. This is where y'all say hello to the nice guest.
Every once in a while, you just change it up on us. Sometimes you introduce us right off the bat. Sometimes you don't. You just wait for us. You need to give us a heads up. But hi, I am Hayden.
No, I was going to introduce you. I said hello. I told you to say hello.
Greetings, Earthlings.
Josh, give us a script next time.
I told you what to say.
I don't listen. Why would you?
I noticed this. It's just a, yeah.
I was just in the kind of mood to let the silence linger.
I kind of wants to.
Maybe so. This is, I don't know if it's raining up in Atlanta, but who knows. Anyway, we are joined by Hayden.
In Atlanta.
The Atlanta area. North. If you're north of me, you're in Atlanta. We are joined by Hayden Ring Bearer Rafferty.
Sure. Yeah. Hi.
Ring bearer or ring bear?
Whatever you want to call it.
I personally get more of a ring bear vibe.
From me?
Yeah.
I don't like you anymore, Hannah.
What? A bear is a good thing to be.
Yeah.
No.
No? Okay. Well,
and I feel
that's
like
your interpretation, I guess.
And ring bearer carries a lot of weight to it.
Yeah. So you're saying I'm fat? I get it.
I was just thinking that you probably give very good hugs. I've forgotten what hugs are like.
Yeah, we all have.
We're gonna move on.
That's a 2019 thing. And we have Hannah Hogan.
Hotman. Flameo Hotman.
Yeah. I'm glad you got that.
Of course.
But this week is more of a news update, and us providing you guys some suggested reading. We're talking about what's going on or what's new in comics and manga. We know, everyone can now in this modern era can watch anime, watch TV and movies adapted from comic books and whatnot. But sometimes it's good to just pick one go to your local store and pick one out and just get to reading. And with this pandemic, we haven't really had you have a lot more time inside, and if you want to give your eyes a break instead of staring at a screen, you can just pick one up and read.
Mm-hmm. And it probably takes longer too, so you can eat up more of that dead time.
Yeah. Enjoy some peace and quiet, and let your imagination, give it something to do. Give it something to do. So yeah, so we're going to be basically going through just the two major comic companies, Marvel and DC, and then Hannah is going to talk about manga. But since DC, is it's the oldest one of these. Since we're talking about, we're gonna let Hayden. It started in 1930 something, so yeah.
What about Action Comics?
Well, with Action Comics, yeah, that's how they started.
Yeah,
but they have deeper roots. So we're gonna let Hayden tell us what's going on in DC Comics.
Well, I am not great at keeping up with this stuff, especially since I stopped paying for DC Universe Infinite, or I think that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Universe, and now it's Infinite.
Actually, I think
they couldn't really do the TV movie stuff like they wanted.
Is DC Universe Infinite? So yeah. So I stopped paying for that as soon as it was just comics, just honestly because I never read comics enough. I never go out of my way to do that to really justify the cost. So I
also feel like reading comics on the computer is weird.
It is a bit, yeah. I always prefer doing.
I had the app on my phone So that it was pretty useful for reading comics, like, on the go.
I prefer having something that I can hold and flip through with pages.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's so I know a few like general things. So I apologize. I also apologize if my information is a bit outdated at this point. I have some stuff open up here just for reference, but two major things that I've been enjoying so far with some of the more recent storylines or just events, just things, I guess. There is death metal going on, which is the whole thing with the Batman Who Laughs, and he has, my understanding is he has basically started like this whole, I don't know if you want to call it like a war on a lot of the other superheroes and everything in the DC Comics universe. And it's just crazy because, of course, we've talked about the Batman Who Laughs previously, I believe. So, but, again, if you don't know, this was Joker, a version of Joker in some other dimension or universe, whatever. I believe it's a different one.
It's a alternate. It's actually a Batman that was Jokerized.
Yeah, well, I was getting to that. Joker, has like the toxin himself that releases when he's killed, and it's kind of a last laugh basically for him. And so he killed himself, or maybe he accidentally died, or maybe Batman killed him in one. I don't exactly remember how that happened in that alternate universe. But basically Joker died, and he was next to Batman, and so Batman became infected with this Joker's toxin, this version of it, and it basically combined Batman and the Joker. So he's got all of the evil craziness of the Joker and all of the intelligence and strength and all that of Batman. So
can I offer an opinion?
Tough. No.
All right.
Sure.
In my opinion, this sounds like, the impression that I get is that the author of this comic just is like a complete like Joker and Batman fanboy, and basically like wrote a fan fiction. And he was like, well, if I'm like legitimately the creator of this, so we're going to say it's in an alternate universe so that nobody really accepts it as like canon in the Batman timeline. But he really just wanted to write this story and was trying to figure out how to like get in there. Because it sounds like the kind of thing that you'd hear about in a fan fiction. Like they joined bodies and it was both of them at the same time.
The thing about this one,
I mean, I'd read it. But...
The thing about this one though, is that my understanding that the Batman Who Laughs came to the main universe, and then Batman did his thing, although this may be a completely separate storyline. I don't remember for sure. He went to the Joker. Our Batman went to the Joker for help to try to learn how to fight him. So Joker killed himself to purposefully infect Batman to try to help him so that he could think like the Batman Who Laughs. And so it became a whole thing. So again, I don't remember. I haven't been keeping up with it too much. I read the first few issues and then I stopped when my subscription ran out, when I canceled it. So
you're not saying that my fan fiction theory is wrong.
Well, also, Hannah, like,
it's funny watching. You're probably not watching the video of this recording, but Hannah's facial expressions are great.
I'm just saying, like, it sounds like this guy he was like, oh man, this story would be so cool. It doesn't really fit in with the overall story, but I'm gonna write it anyway. Alternate universe.
Hannah, this is just what comics is. When they write it, it is not fan fiction. That's just what it is. This is what comic book writers do. Yeah, it's all fan fiction if they're fans of it.
If you get a pass to be the writer of a new arc, then it's canon.
Yeah, this is a canon story.
Yeah, this.
Wait, no, I understand. I'm just saying. I feel like if it didn't fit in with the the current story, the writer of it was just like, okay, but this is the story I want to tell, so I'm gonna work it in. Even if it doesn't
People
really
do
make
that
sense.
in everything though. Like I kind of get what you're trying to say, but I kind of think it's a stupid argument.
It just seems so outside the norm, I guess is the thing.
Yeah, but like that happens with everything when writers don't always agree, or there is a writer that just wants to do something different and fun. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Also, one of my favorite things that has been going on, and I wish I was keeping up with more, is now if you are like me and you are a Harley Quinn fan, you may know of the relationship that she has had with Poison Ivy. They've had a fun relationship for a long time, and I believe recently they got married. So they have a whole comic book thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw some things that were showing her, and she was getting kind of close with Booster Gold, so I was a little confused. But they are getting married now.
I believe
her and Ivy are getting married
now. I believe they got married. I could be. I suppose I could be wrong about that. I recall seeing something about like their wedding.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, I haven't kept up with it.
And a 10-second Google search certainly seems like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I enjoy their kind of from the last that happened in Harley Quinn, the show. I believe they were starting to head down that path too, which is wonderful, and I really want to see more of that show, even though we're just talking about comics and like the actual written stuff today.
Yeah, we should get something soon. Maybe next year. It just has a good following, and now that it's on HBO Max, it'll definitely get even more viewers watching it.
And I don't know what's going on with a lot of other characters, honestly. I'm mostly in the Bat universe. But I think with Superman, they're doing like a year one thing. Or I just saw that on the front page of this, so I don't know if that's a new series for them. The year one Superman, because I know they did a graphic novel of that for Batman a long time ago. Well,
yeah, I think those are situated on Earth 1, because they have an Earth 1 where they can just tell like I guess one-shot stories or kind of like more grounded stories of the DC heroes, and all that death metal Batman Who Laughs stuff happens on Earth Prime, like the mainstream setting. The setting of the mainstream stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen anything about Future State?
Yeah, I've been seeing some of that stuff. I don't know exactly what it is, but I see a lot of that like covering the main page of the DC Comics website.
Yeah. It looks like they're going into the future after some time after death metal ends, and just actually giving like younger heroes a chance to take over the mantles as Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
Cool.
Yeah. I think you should check out what they're doing with Flash. I think you might like it.
They're always doing something with Flash, and he's usually messing up the timeline, but
Not every time, but not every time.
I didn't say every time. I said mostly. Or usually, whichever one I said.
Yeah, but I think it's a new speedster character that I think you'll like.
Cool.
Yeah, and
that's all I got.
Yeah, and they have Yarrow Floor, who's the new Wonder Woman. She's the child of an Amazon and a South American river god. So she's taking over as Wonder Woman as she becomes of age.
Cool.
So I think it's cool that she's from the Amazon and she's, you know, Wonder Woman. I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is DC stuff. Hannah, give us some manga news.
All right. Well, to be honest, there's manga coming out all the time, constantly, and lots of new series and lots of series that nobody knows what they are and things like that. So I'm going to talk about a few that I can vouch for being good, or things that I'm familiar with, but there's so much out there. You just gotta go look. There's so much good stuff. As for the things that are coming out, I'm actually only talking about sort of continuing series. And I got a list of 5. 4 of them are releasing new volumes or have released new volumes in January, February of this year. So like they are coming out often, like every couple months. One of the ones that I'm sure you guys are going to be excited about, or you would be if you read it, is The Promised Neverland. It's still coming out with volumes. They're on volume 18 now? 18! Yeah. Which means I thought I had like nearly finished it. I didn't realize they were still coming out. So I got to get back into that. So that's coming out still. And I think the anime is also coming out right now, and they're in season 2, which I want to say can't be more than like the first 2 or 3 volumes in. So there's lots and lots of Promised Neverland material, which I'm very excited about. I'm less familiar with My Hero Academia, but that's still being released as well. And I think there's even a few spin-off series that are being released to My Hero Academia. Either of you watched My Hero Academia?
Well, I was gonna say, didn't I mention I started watching it a few
Hey,
weeks?
yeah. I watched 3 seasons, I think.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool seeing them all kind of try to go through it together. It doesn't focus on just that one kid. It kind of focuses on all of them at the same time, and they do a good job of balancing them all out.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'm only like 6 episodes in. 8, so
yeah.
I haven't seen a lot.
And it's always interesting when a manga and its anime are coming out at the same time. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we had that issue with Full Metal Alchemist back in the day.
I don't remember, but I do think that was the case for Dragon Ball Super.
I was gonna say, I think Dragon Ball Super has been doing that, or was at least. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they had that problem when they were in the middle of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. I thought the issue with Full Metal Alchemist and the reason why the first series was not nearly as good as Brotherhood was because they kind of outpaced the manga or took it in a different direction or took it too slowly. But regardless, Brotherhood was better. But speaking of Full Metal Alchemist, that actually is coming out again. They're coming out with a new edition that's like a hardcover collector's edition with like they've updated the drawings and some of them have color and stuff. So mostly I'm mentioning that one just because I want it.
I want it too. After watching all of Brotherhood, and which you're right is the obviously better option, and just be like, oh, this was really good. I would like to read it because I still have not read a single manga in my life. I think that would be a good one to start with.
I have volumes 1 through 6, if you want to borrow them, first of all. But I'm currently working on.
When would I borrow them?
I don't know. Whenever we get to see each other in person again. But I'm determined to only work on 1 series of manga at a time. And I'm currently working on Fruits Basket. I'm only missing volumes 18 and 19 and 21, I think. So as soon as I get those, then I can start collecting Full Metal Alchemist. So that's what's going on there. And then there's actually, I think they're on volume 5, which is funny, of the Persona 5 manga, which is of course based on the game. And I don't know much about it, except that the game is awesome. And they've done mangas in the past for the Persona games, and I feel like they've been pretty decent. So, if you just love Persona 5 and you can't get enough, then that's an option as well.
Hannah, can you buy it for me?
What, Persona 5 or the manga?
Persona 5. Persona 5.
You know, no.
What?
No, and I really want to. We have a copy in my family somewhere. I think Beck has it, but I want it. So I'm still hoping that eventually that they'll come out with Persona 5 on Steam like they did Persona 4. I played the crap out of that game when it came out on Steam. So, and I think Persona 5 is pretty unanimously regarded to be better. The best of the series so far. So, yeah. Josh, are you familiar with the Persona series at all?
Excuse me. No, I'm not.
For shame. For shame, sir.
I'm sorry. I'm not a weeb at all. Well, when it comes to anime, I have some weeb tendencies.
They're just great. They're just great games.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll check them out. I need more game. I need more variety in my games.
Persona 4 is on Steam, so you can get it. It's not as good as Persona 5, but it's still pretty good.
You understand that Josh has a horrible computer.
Yeah, that's true. Forgot about that.
I have a horrible setup. It's awful.
I forgot about that.
If I was living in if that was back in 2010, 2012, I would be like on fire right now. I'd be like, when did Twitch come out?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Like 2010, early 2010s.
I don't know.
Back then, I would be like the top streamer if I had what I have now. Back then, yeah.
Yeah, but back then is different from now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm just saying. Send me back so I can be the most advanced gamer out there.
Yeah. So those 4 series: Promised Neverland, Full Metal Alchemist, the Full Metal Edition, Persona 5, and My Hero Academia are all coming out. Basically, it seems like every 2 or 3 months this year. So you're getting pretty new, updated, new volumes every so often. The other one I have that is not coming out as often is Eden Zero, which is written by the same guy who wrote Fairy Tail. And I read a little bit of it, and it's basically Fairy Tail in space. Yeah, it's Fairy Tail, I'm not going to say is the best series out there to begin with. It's a little hokey, and Eden Zero might be worse, but it's a good old fun romp. So that's an option as well. But forewarning, they do come out like once every 6 months to a year or something like that. They do not get updated often. So the next one of those is not coming out until June, actually. But I wanted to mention it anyway.
Sounds like if you're a Rick and Morty fan, you should have a patience tolerance with that.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's all I got. There's so many other things coming out. I think I saw something about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I don't know enough about the series to know if that's the actual thing or if it was a spin-off. I saw they're starting a new series, which is Cells at Work Babies, which is I guess the Cells at Work, but like everyone's a baby.
Babies. I guess are they going to cover like?
It's either that all of the cells in the baby are babies, or it's the person is a baby, or both. I'm not sure, but I saw that's going to be a thing.
Yeah, you're right. It's either one of those 3 things.
I feel like probably both.
Yeah, I'll see how Black is and see if I like. Black. Because I'd like to see a more intense storytelling of like what happens in the body. Like Cells at Work was pretty good, but but Black's supposed to be a little more edgy and a lot more like, oh, this person's dying because they've been smoking cigarettes their whole life, drinking, and
that would be
really bad acid reflux, and
just every day is a disaster.
Yeah.
That would be. I'd watch that.
It's out now.
Is it?
Yeah, you see. Well, the anime's out and the manga's out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Of course. Yeah.
I haven't even watched the original, so.
I watched someone reacting to it, and like instead of you don't see this. You really see cells get killed in the other show, but in this one, a staph bacteria just rips the neck out of a red blood cell.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it.
So weird.
Okay. Wow.
Aiden, have you watched Cells at Work?
No. I have not
should.
heard of it before. It sounds so weird.
It reminds
great.
me of, what was that show? It was like a movie back in the day.
Yeah. Osmosis Jones and then
Yeah.
Ozzy Hendrix.
Yeah. I always think of that. I haven't seen Cells at Work, but I've heard it's good.
That is what it sounds like, actually. That's exactly what
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just in anime form, so a lot more extreme.
All right, interesting.
Yeah. But we are not talking about anime. We're talking about things we can read. And with that, I will tell y'all about some Marvel stuff going on.
Woot woot.
Stuff that you have to read, of course, because everyone's been watching MCU stuff since it's been on Disney Plus and waiting. We've had a long period of waiting for the stuff to come back because of COVID, and now WandaVision's out on streaming on Disney Plus, and you got Falcon and Winter Soldier coming out next month. But they're still doing comics, and they have some good arcs. Did y'all know that Deadpool is turning 30 next month?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I feel like I did, actually. I feel like I saw that somewhere.
Yeah. He's a 90s kid, and he's oh god, I'm getting old. So yeah, he's turning 30, and they're having a some special releases coming out for him next month. Just kind of going over his history. He's supposed to show his Sweet 16 and his 100th birthday as well. So that's going to be a little weird.
Okay, interesting.
Any party with Deadpool is you might not walk away from, and you might wish you hadn't gone. So yeah. There was an event with the X-Men and Fantastic Four where Franklin Richards had to choose between his human family and his mutant family. I guess he's all grown up now. So just a little X-Men Fantastic Four crossover. Yeah. There was the King in Black storyline. Basically, an army of symbiotes comes to Earth, and it's going to cause all the teams to have to figure out how to stop them. Venom is involved somehow. I just know from what I've read about symbiotes, it doesn't seem like it seems like all of them versus all the heroes. They're in for a kind of a tough fight.
Yeah, I remember looking into that kind of thing, and either they did something similar before, or it was not too long ago where I did see or read something about all of this, because, and I think it was just before or just after the movie Venom came out, I made sure to look really in depth into all the different symbiotes that were created, and
all the names.
Yeah. So I remember a lot about them. Before, I used to only know about just Venom and Carnage, because I think maybe they were the only two that were actually really a thing. But then they started, focusing on expanding that and creating more symbiotes for Venom's anti-hero solo comic thing.
Yeah, give him a rogues gallery, and I guess he would share that rogues gallery with Spider-Man. So it's it's definitely you can tell a lot of story with symbiotes, and symbiotes are just cool. They can definitely enhance this whatever story you're telling, depending on how you use them. So those sound interesting, but a new one, which is taking place after this Enter the Phoenix arc ending. Apparently, at the end of that, the universe was restarted somehow. Kind of like it sounds like kind of like what DC did with their Flashpoint and New 52, but they're calling it Heroes Reborn. It's supposed to start this month, and it has instead of the Avengers never existed in this one. Thanos has Infinity Rings for some reason, and the team of heroes that is kind of in charge is the Squadron Supreme. I think it's led by Juggernaut, which is kind of weird.
It's weird. I never thought of Juggernaut as a leader.
See, this is what I'm saying. Like, okay, maybe I'm just more used to books that are like linear, and even manga. Like manga will have like sort of filler sometimes, right? But it's all set in the same universe for the most part. And so for me, it feels when you guys are telling me this stuff, it feels like like,
not Marvel.
What?
Marvel and DC are all about the multiverse and all that.
Yeah, telling Elseworld stories and
I mean, I get it because they've been doing it for so long. Like, they have to, if they want to continue coming out with content, they have to be like, let's do this, right? But it just, to me, feels so out of left field. They're like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
it does feel like, you know, from out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's this character comes out of the blue and, you know, restarts the earth or something like that.
It feels like they're just creating the stories that they want to create, which is fine. But then they know that everyone who reads them is going to be like, where does this fit into the meta, right? And they're like, alternate universe. There you go. Problem solved.
Don't worry, none of these events will ever matter.
Right, yeah, exactly. They're just writing off the legitimacy of what they're writing. They're like, yeah, it's canon, but I'm like, it's not canon.
I mean, what do you consider canon?
Well, I guess that's the thing, is like, I don't read enough comics to really know if they generally, like, if there is sort of like one main storyline and then you have all these branches. It sounds like the whole thing is just branches.
Well, yeah, so you have like, you definitely have things that are canon, and it does go through a major, like, follow a somewhat linear path, but the linearity I guess, of that path is complicated because it includes going through other alternate timelines most of the time, and that affecting the canon timeline. They kind of explain it in like Infinity War, which it had been sort of explained before, but you know, it's that you're on a straight path and say this point here, in like on this line, Hannah, I'm pointing at my hand, I'm doing a visual. So say at this point is where they go into the past to an alternate timeline over here, but then that point still counts along their timeline, so it keeps going, but this section of that,
so the branches are loops,
is this one here.
So the branches are loops, so it's like you have a main tree and then you go off on a branch and then you go back to exactly where you left off, and then you keep going along the main story, and then you make another loop off in a weird alternate timeline, and then you come back. Is that what you're saying?
It's about like following basically following a character. So again, like imagine you have a time machine, and so you're building that time machine, and that is part of your life, and then you use that to go back in time. You are still continuing to age even though you are back in time, because it is your life and you are experiencing it in a linear fashion as it is going forward. So then that past that you are interacting with is your present.
I've seen enough Doctor Who. I get this.
Yeah, exactly. So how are you questioning it? Because that is canon, and that is how you continue a storyline throughout all of this.
I think the difference is they're like with the Batman Who Laughs, it's like, oh yeah, so Joker died and infected Batman with the Joker thing, but it wasn't like the real Joker and Batman. They're still doing their own thing. They're fine. It was like a different one.
No, that was the real Batman. Well, yeah, the real Joker killed himself. Remember, he's the one that killed himself to infect Batman.
But this, Hannah, this also happened in the dark multiverse.
Confused.
And
this is why I don't read comics.
And in a world in that dark multiverse, that Jokerized Batman came over to the mainstream universe and started crap. And that's where they had to fight off. And that's how death metal got started.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, and also, Hannah,
metal and death metal.
How many times
I'll take your word for it.
Any superhero has died or villain has died?
Yeah,
how many times Joker has died or Batman?
Or should have died and come back.
Or actually has died.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's a cycle. But yeah, so Heroes Reborn it's gonna be a kind of a kind of a mystery, but also give you a chance to see some different takes on the heroes, like I mentioned the Squadron Supreme. Magneto is
Reborn.
Yes, Magneto is no. Magneto is the leader of the X-Men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, Heroes Reborn was when they picked up a few years after with it followed Noah, I think, after Claire died.
Oh my God. Don't bring that up. Do not bring that up. Anyway, also Miles Morales is the Falcon. I don't know why, and Peter Parker is reduced to this Jimmy Olsen type character, just taking pictures of Hyperion. It's weird. It's weird. And also Blade is the only one that remembers the previous universe.
Okay, I'm only gonna say this one more time because I feel like I'm putting thoughts together and figuring out what I'm trying to say. I feel like this is the kind of story that someone who is writing fan fiction would come up with, and people would just roll with it because they're like, yeah, it's fan fiction, whatever. But because like legitimate writers are writing it, we're like, yeah. That's real. That's a real story.
Exactly.
It's like the same kind of content. The only thing that's different is the person writing it has been like verified.
Yeah. Because I've tried to read some fan fiction, and I think we talked about this, how I kind of cringe whenever I hear y'all talk about, let's talk about fan fiction. I'm like, because some fan fiction is just written poorly, really.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, no structure to it at all, and kind of fan servicing in a way. But this way, the way they're doing it, if you're a legitimate writer and you're signed on with Marvel or DC or whoever, then you can tell a legitimate story. You will still have some people cringe about it, but most people will be like, okay, this is cool.
Verified fan fiction.
Yeah. But yeah. But even though it's so go out and read some verified fan fiction or pick up some modern storytelling from these comic writers and manga writers. So before usually there's a lot of manga that gets adapted to anime, but some things are just worth a good read instead of you don't have to see it on the screen. But yeah, go check it out. So that wraps us up this week. What's going on next time?
Next time we Hannah is leading it. So Hannah, why don't you say? I mean, I just cut you off. I'm sorry. We're probably both looking at it.
Yeah. Next week we're going to be talking about big group games. So previously we talked about multiplayer video games to sort of help you get through your social distancing, and now we're looking toward the future when you're finally allowed to have parties again. What sort of games can you play with people in real life?
What?
That's what we're going to talk about.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm discovering new ones every day, and I'm very excited because I flipping love board games.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
Yeah, so basically for when you guys get to come back to my house and get to play board games again, here's what we're going to play. I'm making plans already.
That thing we did one time last year.
Yeah, I was like, we're going to get together every month in 2020 to play board games.
Psych.
Nope.
Yeah.
And then March.
Don't you have like 4 families living in your house now?
Yeah, I do. I do have 8 people living in my house. They don't want to play board games with me.
Okay.
Mostly my husband. It's fine. I'm not
Well,
mad
that'll
about
be
it.
fun.
We'll play board games with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
When it's
When the time is right.
When the time is right, yeah. Anyway, but that's it for this week. Tune in for next time. But until then, nerd out.
Nerd
Nerd out.